Hello everyone! Welcome to the 2012 to 2013 Retrospect Futurespect. I am creating this here channel updates as source to take a look at the past year and what I've accomplished in the past year, as well as look forward to the future and my plans for the next year. We're going to start by taking a look at the RPG Maker stuff that I did, because last year, I did the Year of the Dragon, which is based on the Chinese Year of the Dragon. Dragon, Dragon. It's a pun! Plus, I'm a raccoon/dragon, so there you go. And yesterday, the Chinese New Year came and went, and that's why I decided to have this channel update now, because now we're starting the Year of the Snake. I don't think that's going to have a relevance to my LPs. Anyway, let's start by taking a look at the RPG Maker games that I did last year. Now, last year I started off with Light in the Sky, or rather I continued Light in the Sky. I had been taking several months away from it, and then I came back to it, and it was then that I started the Year of the Dragon thing, which was my promise to do better with RPG Maker this year, or last year, than the year before. Did I fulfill that promise? Well, I'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, Light in the Sky. It was a game for RPG Maker 3, an RPG where you're trying to figure out what the deal is with the light in the sky and the curses and what in the world is going on in the world. And while there was a bunch of wild goose chase moments, I think it was interesting, especially the final villain. I won't spoil anything, of course, but it was interesting. Battles were balanced well enough. I liked the variety of characters that you could choose from, even though you could only choose which character you wanted at very specific points in the game. But overall, a decent game, one of the better RPGs I played for RPG Maker 3. During Light in the Sky, I also wound up doing Freedom Quest at one point for RPG Maker VX, and I did Freedom Quest because someone was like, "Hey, here's this demo, it's only an hour long, tell me what you think." It was more than an hour long, which is why I'm not going to accept random demos from people again. And it was a very, very beginner's game. You could tell because there were some... yeah. It had voice acting, and not very good voice acting, and some of the maps were bland, to say the least. And it had a bunch of random scripts in there that you knew the game creator didn't put in himself. So after Light in the Sky and Freedom Quest, we moved on to SS World 2, which was for RPG Maker 2. My gosh, that game was disappointing. Not that it was a bad game, but it was this person's 5th RPG Maker 2 game. And I expected a game the quality of someone's 5th RPG Maker 2 game. It wasn't. Maybe the quality of their 2nd game, but it wasn't the quality of their 5th. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was plenty glitchy, but it was interesting. Not one of my favorite games, though, simply because of the disappointment. After that, we moved on to Simple Man's Quest for the Playground, which was for RPG Maker VX again. And that game was hard. My gosh. What's funny is the game developer actually intended it to be really hard. Well, mission accomplished because, my gosh. It was an interesting game, at least the premise. It's based on a web forum, and the people are based on people from that web forum. And there's a bunch of inside jokes, most of which I probably don't get. The battle system was interesting, the way you could use certain attacks, and some of the attacks would only be available for a certain amount of time. Actually, it was kind of confusing at times, but I think I got the hang of it. Now, the Let's Play sort of ended in a cliffhanger. I'd like to clarify that the cliffhanger doesn't mean there's going to be another game. It just means that this game wasn't finished. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the Let's Play. And then we move on to the game that I'm currently playing, Ursa's Quest Tree of Life. This is the game where I get to choose between a boy and a girl, and then I get to do whatever I want. Choose a profession of whatever I want to do, archaeology, artist, romantic. I haven't gotten to the romantic yet, but I will soon-ish. Probably don't have to say too much about the game because I'm playing it right now. If you want to know more about the game, keep watching my channel. Now back to the Year of the Dragon thing. Now when I returned to Light in the Sky, I made a promise to do 4 RPG Maker games in the year, because the previous year I had only done 3 and one of them was a demo. One of them? Was it 2? Either way, it was not really a good year for RPG making. In fact, there was a whole deal where I spent 5 months away from Light in the Sky. So yeah, I made the promise to do better, and did I do better? Well, first off, Freedom Quest doesn't count. So we're looking at 4 games here: Light in the Sky, SS World 2, Simple Man, and Tree of Life. Now even though I'm still in the middle of Tree of Life, I think that my Year of the Dragon was successful, because even though I haven't finished 4 RPG Maker games, I still did a whole lot more RPG Maker stuff than I did last year. Or rather, the year before. It's kind of confusing talking about the year that just happened as past. Anyway, that's all the RPG Maker stuff that I did last year. There was, of course, some other stuff. I continued my 100th subscriber Let's Tries, and I got, in the past year, my 200th subscriber. Yes, in less than a year, I wound up getting an extra 100 subscribers. Not that you can really tell the difference. I mean, as far as I can tell, my view count hasn't really increased any, and I'm still getting the same commenters as before. Maybe after I reach 300, I'll actually notice a difference in the subscriber count. But right now, it's superfluous. Speaking of those 100th subscriber Let's Tries, I wound up removing my Let's Try of Tales of Symphonia at one point, because there was that point where YouTube got a little bit more strict about your videos and copyright content, and apparently something that wasn't that bad before suddenly became bad. I'm not really sure what the deal with it was. I assume it was because of some music that happened in a couple of furry videos at a convention, and rather than figure out how to deal with that and how to defend myself and say that, hey, these are circumstantial, let them be, I just removed them. And Tales of Symphonia had also been marked. I don't know if they were at fault, but I also removed them. I might actually put them back, because as it turns out, it was part of some major error on YouTube's part, where people who had their time limits put back for videos because of copyrighted content, there was some glitch where they couldn't get the time limit removed again. And besides, it's a Let's Try of Tales of Symphonia. I'm not showing off the whole game, and in fact, I point out that people should get the game. There should be no reason that it should be marked negatively on my account. Now, during that time where I was stuck with 15-minute videos, I decided to say screw it, let me do a game where 15-minute videos are easy to do, and so I started a Let's Play of Donkey Kong for the Super Game Boy. And that was pretty fun. Eventually the time limit got removed, but I kept those videos short and eventually returned to my RPG Maker Let's Plays. There was also a point last year where I played some Mario Kart Wii with my real-life sister. Now, it wasn't really a Let's Play, and I didn't think to record the Mushroom Cup, but what I uploaded I think was pretty interesting. Since it wasn't a Let's Play, I didn't really make an effort to have commentary, but I think our interactions with each other and stuff like that are worth it. Especially some of the WTF moments that happened throughout the game. And of course, there was the Super Paper Mario Let's Play, which I haven't quite finished yet. I'll get back to that later. But I started Super Paper Mario because there was this conversation in the chat room where somebody didn't get why I thought the game sucked. So I brought along Ixion and Lantis, and we talked about how the game sucks. In fact, this clip right here is a pretty good reason why the game sucks. And to think it's actually required. Now, along with that stuff, there were a few what was I thinking videos that I did there was this random Crash Bandicoot video that I made in response to some other Let's Player, I think Delicious Cinnamon, where I made a loop because they looped and I re-looped it. It was dumb. I also did a Let's Play of Don't Shoot the Puppy, and it came out of nowhere, and it's still nowhere. I mean, I had an interest of doing Flash Let's Plays, but that didn't fall through, and honestly, I didn't really plan on doing Flash Let's Plays at that time. At least not for the foreseeable future. And then perhaps the biggest What Was I Thinking video was a Let's Try of Super Mario 64, which was actually a channel update. I don't know why I did a Let's Try as a channel update. What was I thinking? So that's all of the stuff that was on my own channel, but there was a bunch of stuff outside of my channel. Most of the stuff I did outside of my channel I never actually mentioned. One thing that I did mention was my Kirby Dream Land 3 Let's Play with Lantis. That was an interesting thing. The reason we did that was because Lantis had just gotten back from a dentist, and he had to have cotton balls in his mouth and was sort of drugged up, and we figured, you know, it would really be interesting to do a Let's Play of Kirby's Dream Land 3 while he's knocked up on drugs. And it was interesting. It was also kind of disastrous with some glitchiness with the video, but it was still interesting. And I'm sure you also know about the Let's Races I did with Lantis and Ixion and various other members of RPG Maker magazine. We started off with Donkey Kong Country, moved on to Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, we did Super Mario Land 2, we did Extra Mode of Kirby's Dream Land, and we also Let's Race Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3. That's a lot of Let's Racing. A bunch of those games I haven't mentioned on my channel though, so if you haven't seen them, check out my playlist. I actually added a bunch of playlists recently of all the stuff I've done on separate channels. In fact, one channel that I haven't mentioned me doing stuff on is Ixion's channel. He did a couple of Let's Plays, one of Contra and one of Darkwing Duck, and I took part in both of them along with other members of RPG Maker magazine. And most interestingly, there is RPG Maker magazine's Madcast. Yep, I'm in a podcast. We talk about random gaming stuff, mostly the stuff that interests us. Surprisingly, most of it isn't actually about RPG Maker. We sort of had to push that in there these past couple of podcast episodes. Now the podcasts are actually pretty long. Generally they reach an hour in length in average, but I think they're pretty interesting to listen to and they're fun to make. Just us chatting about video games. No special effects or anything. Once again, if you're interested in seeing those podcasts that I was in, I've got a playlist for it. So yeah, last year was definitely a good year for Let's Playing and stuff. Now that we're done looking at last year, it's time to look to the future. Cause there are a lot of stuff that I plan to do this year, and I feel that I should all mention it. Or mention all of it. Or something like that. First off, I'm gonna continue to take part in the Let's Races and podcasts. In fact, I forgot to mention a couple of races we did just recently. Sonic the Hedgehog and The Little Mermaid. As for what races are coming up, we just recorded a race of Super Mario World. In fact, by the time you see this video, that race should already be started. So take a look at my playlist once again if you want to check that out. There's also a Let's Play that we did with Ixion a while back, but at the time of this video it hasn't been uploaded yet. He's a bit busy with revamping RPG Maker magazine. Now it might be uploaded by the time this video goes up, it might not. Once again, check out my playlists. As for more certain stuff, we just started a Let's Play with Shadow Fox. You know, the guy who was there for the end of Super Mario RPG Revolution. Wait, did I mention Super Mario RPG Revolution? Yeah, last year I continued Super Mario RPG Revolution. We found out whether I was able to beat the cake or not. And then we eventually beat the game. But anyway, Shadow Fox just started a Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And I am in there, as well as a couple of other people. Now, just a fair warning, the first 4 videos, Lantis comes in a bit quiet. That is entirely Ixion's fault because Ixion was there with Lantis in Lantis' house at the time. For the 5th video, Lantis is much more audible, and in that video he explains why it was Ixion's fault. So that's those channels out of the way. Now it's time to make announcements about what I plan to do for my channel. Now, I've been doing RPG Maker games for Let's Plays for quite a while, and I will continue to do Let's Plays of RPG Maker games. Now, for a long time, I've been doing nothing but requests. Somebody asked me to Let's Play their game, and I Let's Play it. I've been doing this ever since Terran's Hunt in 2010, so it's been a while since I've had the chance to Let's Play a game of my choice. So this year, I'm going to be changing that. Rather than do random requests, I'm going to just pick random games at random, whether they've been requested or not. Now, I'll still do requests from time to time if a game sounds interesting, but for the most part, it's just going to be games that I think sound interesting that are in the archives. And I think the first game that I'm going to be doing, it will be Legend of Felinar for RPG Maker 1, which was made way back in 2002. In fact, I don't think the person who made it is even around anymore. It's been a while since I've done a game for RPG Maker 1, not since Dora in 2011. Now, it'll be a while before I get to Legend of Felinar, cause I'm still in the middle of the Tree of Life, and I only just got my first trophy from a profession, and there's like, I want to say 6 more professions that I need to do. A couple of professions I haven't even tried out yet. So it'll probably be at least a few months before I'm able to finish Tree of Life. And then there's Mario RPG Revolution. Like I said, that's over. I don't know how I forgot to say that RPG Maker Revolution was over. I guess it's because I have been spending so much time on it, over a year, that now that I'm not doing anything with it anymore, it's sort of like a dream. But anyway, I said that after I was finished with Mario RPG Revolution, I would return to Super Paper Mario. I changed my mind. Now, eventually I will return to Super Paper Mario, but I just finished a really long Mario RPG Let's Play. Like I said, it took over a year to do. I'd rather not jump right back into another super long Mario RPG Let's Play, even though Super Paper Mario is more platformer than RPG. So what am I going to be doing instead? Well, back when I did Donkey Kong, at the end of the Let's Play, I said I wanted to try to switch focus onto Game Boy games. I figured it would fill in another niche. Along with focusing on RPG Maker games, I could also focus on Game Boy games. And I actually meant it. But I couldn't really start Let's Playing Game Boy games because I was still doing Revolution, and of course, Super Paper Mario came along and took up even more of my time. So basically, I'm delaying Super Paper Mario to sometime later this year, perhaps this summer, and focus on Game Boy games. In fact, that's pretty much how it's going to be from now on. Focus on RPG Maker games and Game Boy games for the rest of my LP career, if you can call it a career. Not like I'm actually making money off of these. If I did, there would probably be lawsuits. Now, I won't entirely give up on console games. I might do a console game once or twice a year. There's a few that I definitely want to do. Off the top of my head, Banjo-Kazooie, Pier Solar, Sonic Unleashed, Earthbound. Anyway, back to the Game Boy games. I want to get away from Mario entirely for the time being, so the first Game Boy Let's Play that I'm going to be doing is Darkwing Duck for the Game Boy. I know I already did the NES game with Ixion, but here's the thing. When I did that Let's Play with Ixion, one thing I was looking forward to was being able to talk about the show because I really enjoyed the show as a kid. But that didn't happen. Instead, we talked about random stuff and talked very little about the show and the game. In fact, half the people there had never actually watched the show or didn't remember it. So by doing a Let's Play of my own of Darkwing Duck, that would give me the chance to talk about the show as much as I want. Plus, most people are probably familiar with the NES game, and there's some little differences here and there between the NES version and the Game Boy version that people might be interested in seeing. Now, to make sure that I get to talk about everything I want to talk about the show Darkwing Duck while playing Darkwing Duck, I'm going to be doing that Let's Play solo. I mean, the source material provides plenty of stuff to talk about, so hopefully by doing it alone, I won't be terribly boring. On the other hand, if I did a solo Let's Play of the game I plan to do after Darkwing Duck, it would be boring. That Let's Play is Wario Land. That game definitely doesn't give me a whole lot to talk about, so it's probably best if I just brought in some random people to do the Let's Play. I don't know if it'll be anybody specific or if it'll just be random people, whoever's around at the time. Now, Wario Land, I've wanted to see a Let's Play done of it for a long time. And yeah, I know there's a bunch of Let's Plays of Wario Land on YouTube, but I mean specifically within our little community at RPG Maker Magazine. Nobody's touched it, so I'm gonna touch it myself. Wow, that sounded... anyway. Now, neither Wario Land nor Darkwing Duck were made specifically for the Super Game Boy, but I'll definitely be using the Super Game Boy and its features a lot. Get to fiddle around with the color palettes because Super Game Boy lets you choose your own color palettes. After Wario Land, I probably will get to an actual Super Game Boy game. At the moment, I'm thinking Kirby's Dream Land 2, but I'm not 100% certain of this. It's still a little bit of ways before I make my final decision. But there will be a third Game Boy game that I'll be doing after Wario Land, and then I'll do Super Paper Mario some more. And now comes the big stuff. So, a couple of years ago, I hit my 100th episode. And for that, I did a celebration by playing one of the worst RPG Maker games in existence, Door the Game. Now, I have since hit my 200th episode, and my 300th episode, and I'm getting ready to hit my 400th episode. And those are not worth celebrating, because when I did my 100th episode, I was doing hour-long Let's Plays, and so I uploaded a lot less frequently than I do now. After a point, I started uploading smaller episodes, and that allowed me to upload more frequently, and that resulted in my episode count skyrocketing. So even though my 200th, 300th, and 400th are not that special, I decided that I will celebrate my 500th episode, and that will probably be coming sometime later this year. Don't know specifically when, maybe sometime during the summer at this rate. I don't know yet what I'll be doing for my 500th episode, but it'll be something a little bit special. Nothing super fancy because I don't have enough subscribers to make it worth doing something super fancy. More importantly, yes, even more important than my 500th episode, is my 5th anniversary. On October 7th, 2008, I started Let's Playing with my own game, Jester's Hunt. So on October 7th, 2013, I will be celebrating my 5th anniversary. I also don't know what I'll be doing for that. I have a couple of ideas. Once again, it won't be something super duper special, for the same reason I mentioned before. So go ahead and look forward to these events coming this year, just don't get your hopes up. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this channel update slash year of the celebration thing. I am now 37 minutes into this recording. I'm going to have a lot to edit out. I'm also going to have to edit in a whole bunch of video clips and stuff, and some music tracks, which you've already seen, so I don't know why I'm mentioning them. Oh yes, and I definitely gotta mention that I'm working on a game. I already mentioned that, but yeah, I'm working on a game. It'll be released this year. Look forward to that. But yeah, that's it for this update slash celebration thing. So I'll see you this year. Enjoy this year. Next week I'll be returning to Tree of Life, and I'll also be starting up my Let's Play of Darkwing Duck on the Game Boy. I'll see you then.